Hey, what's up guys, it's Dark Room Duelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Dark Lord deck profile. So this is probably one of my favorite decks of all time next to Black Wings and Red Eyes. So I really want to do this deck profile, and it's been a little while since I actually updated this. I think the last time I updated was when I did a Trickstar engine inside the Dark Lord deck, and I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different with the deck. I liked the Trickstar engine, but it felt like I was running two separate decks at the same time, which I mean I kind of was, but it was fun at the same time. So I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more pure and closer to what I like for Dark Lord. So I made this, and I want you guys to really enjoy it. So here we go, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Dark Lord of Shell, and just appreciate that mat really quick. Like that's a thumbnail right there. So she's just really, really awesome. I love her. So, here we go. So, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Dark Lord of Shell. Basically, she's like Pot of Greed in the deck, and probably the best card in the whole deck. So, what she does is you discard her and another Dark Lord card from your hand to draw 2 cards, and all the Dark Lords have this special ability that when they're discarded to the grave, or when they're on the field, you can activate the effect by paying 1,000 life points, and then after you pay 1,000 life points, you get to shuffle a Dark Lord spell or trap back into your deck, and then apply that effect as though it was their own. So for instance, if I have something like Dark Lord Banishment in my grave, like this, and I pay 1,000 life points targeting Dark Lord Banishment, I can shuffle Banishment back into the deck and then add another Dark Lord from my deck to my hand, because that's the effect of Banishment. So you can get really like 2 or 3 searches in a turn by activating Banishment and then special summoning a shell and then paying 1,000 and then searching a second time, which is really amazing. Like, it's just awesome. So let me play 1 copy of Tezcatlipoca. I think I actually said that for the first time right. But its effect is kind of like a hand trap. If a Dark Lord monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can discard it instead, and then it has the same effect as a shell, where you can target a spell or trap in the grave, and you know, shuffle it back in the deck and then apply its effect of its own. It's a really good card to play as a 1-of. I probably would never play it as a more than 1, because it has the really cool ability that it just protects them from like Mirror Force, Dark Holes, Raigeki, stuff like that. Like usually I end up searching this second, so when I go into my opponent's turn, I can protect my Dark Lords if I've left any on the field. So then I play 3 copies of Dark Lord Nazton. I know this is a big debate if you should play 2 or 3. I feel like 3 is the optimal number and more of a pure build. I'm not playing Lair of Darkness in this build. This is a totally pure-ish Dark Lord deck profile. So I play 3. You can discard 2 other Dark Lord cards except himself. And then, well, you can discard another copy of Nazton, but you can't discard the one you're going to special summon. But you can special summon him from your hand, and then he has the same ability as a shell and Tezcatlipoca to pay 1,000. And then I play, for the last one that you have to pay 1,000 with, I play 1 copy of Amadus. I just kind of wanted one that I could summon off of 1 tribute, so I just played 1 copy of Amadus. You can discard this card, and a Dark Lord card from your hand, and then target a Dark Lord card in your grave and add it back to your hand. I use that surprisingly often to add a shells back to my hand if like I have him in like Banishment in the hand, or not Banishment, Contact in the hand. I'll discard the shell, or I'll discard this in like a Contact or a Dead Nazton in my hand, and then add a shell back to hand, and then use her with another Dark Lord in my hand to draw 2 more cards and just keep digging and digging and digging. So for the last Dark Lord Isk monster that's from that set is 1 copy of Dark Lord Morningstar. This card is so explosive. Like, it's amazing how good this card is in the deck. And I'm really saddened by the amount of people that take this card for granted. It's really good. Like, Dark Lord Morningstar is just amazing. But he cannot be special summoned, and you can tribute some, and if he's tribute summoned, you can special summon Dark Lord monsters from your hand or deck up to the number of cards of effect monsters your opponent controls, which is just really, really, really good. Because you can just fill your entire field up, and you can make Boral Sword, or just attack with all of them, because they all have big attack points. And then while you control another Dark Lord monster, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. And then once per turn, you can send the top cards, send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Dark Lords you control. And then if you do, gain 500 attack for each Dark Lord sent to the grave by this effect, which is just amazing. Like, he gets so big, he gets so many other monsters on the field, and he lets you gain life points too. Like, that's just, he's the whole package. Then we play 1 copy of Zerato, which is basically like Raigeki on, you know, legs, essentially. And then we play 3 copies of Dark Lord Superbia. Dark Lord Superbia, when it's special summon from the grave, you can target a fairy monster in your grave and special summon it. That's pretty much all it does. You want to usually discard this with a shell to be able to draw 2 and then get Contact in your hand, and then activate Contact to be able to revive this and a shell at the same time to get 2 basically Monster Reborns off of 1. Then we play 1 copy of Dark Lord Ukupak. This card's kind of a starter card. When you normal summon it, you get to Foolish Burial, a Dark Lord card from your deck to your hand, or from your deck to the grave, which is cool. And then I play 3 copies of Arc Lord Christia. This card is basically the all-star of the deck. You just summon this off of a card that I play in the deck called Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen. You play that with this and just instantly be able to shut down your opponent on the first turn. Usually what you're trying to draw into is Arc Lord Christia, to be able to just stop your opponent from special summoning, and you can easily get it off the field to just be able to special summon on yourself, which is extremely helpful. Then we play 1 copy of the Searcher for Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen, which is really easy to draw into. I just find that playing 1 copy is fine, but also the other cool thing about Arc Lord Christia is, with this deck, is a lot of the deck discards to the grave, and you can control the amount of fairies that's in your grave. And it kind of works like Dark Arm Dragon, that if you have 4 fairies in your grave, you get to special summon it, where Dark Arm Dragon's 3 darks. So you just special summon it from your hand, which is really cool. And then for the last 3 monsters that I play 3 copies of Fairy Tale Luna. I chose to play this over Ash Blossom, to be honest with you, because usually I find myself summoning Arc Lord Christia and then having nothing to normal summon because all my Dark Lords are very, very high levels. So I use the combo of Luna Control Dark Lords. That's kind of what this deck is, as Luna Control Dark Lords, because you use the Dark Lords as a draw engine and for their big beat stick potential. And then you also summon Arc Lord Christia, and then summon Luna, search another Luna, and bounce stuff off your opponent's side of the field. So it's kind of like 2 engines working together to be able to just totally eradicate your opponent, which is amazing. And sometimes if they summon something like Borrelsword, you know they're not playing 2 copies of Borrelsword. They have to bounce it because they don't have another copy of it. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells, because they can actually, cool thing, forgot to mention, they can negate the effect of Luna by sending another card with the same name from either their deck or their hand or their extra deck to the grave, which is kind of sucks, but it just negates it, but it forces them to get rid of resources, which is nice. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Banishment of the Dark Lords. It's essentially Rhoda. It lets you add any Dark Lord from your deck to your hand. 3 copies of Dark Lord Contact. This is essentially Monster Reborn. You get to special summon a Dark Lord monster from your graveyard in defense position. 3 copies of Call by the Grave. I just want to stop my opponent from hand trapping me, because I'm going to they're going to try and hand trap the Ishel, so you want to be able to stop that with Call by the Grave. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, because we're playing draw power for days in this deck. Allure of Darkness just helps us out because just about everything in the deck is dark except Luna and the Searcher for Valhalla and Christia. So then we play 3 copies of Trade-In, because Trade-In helps us draw even more. And then 3 copies of Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen, because it lets you special summon a fairy monster. It turns all your fairy monsters into cyber dragons, essentially. You can special summon them from your hand as long as you control no other monsters, which is really cool, and I really love that effect. And it really helps out quite a lot, too. I can just see, like, shadows taking over this whole, like, backdrop. I wish I could get an alternate artwork where it was just, like, a dark version of Valhalla. That'd be awesome. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So, I mean, I know that's really quick, but it's pretty much just Draw Engine and Reborns. Like, that's all that is for the spells. It's pretty simple. So I'm only playing 2 spells, and that's 1 copy of Sanctified Dark Lord and Dark Lord Rebellion. Dark Lord Rebellion just lets me pop stuff by sending a Dark Lord from my hand or field to the grave, and then you get to, or 1 face-up Dark Lord, from your field to the graveyard, and then the Sanctified Dark Lord is you send 1 Dark Lord monster from your hand or face-up from your side of the field to the grave, and then negate the effect of 1 face-up effect monster until the end phase of the turn, and if you do, gain life points equal to the attack of the monster. So this is the card that allows you to turn off Christia. So you can turn off Christia with this and target your own Christia, turn it off, special summon what you want on your turn, and then it goes back active on your opponent's turn, which is just really, really nuts, and I love that interaction. I probably would even play this maybe at 2. The only thing that I would really consider dropping is maybe this and playing a 2nd copy of Christia, or a 2nd copy of the Sanctified Dark Lord. Like, that's the only thing I would consider maybe dropping. But that's it for the deck, guys. For the main deck, let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 1 copy of Super Dreadnought Cannon Juggernaut Libby. Basically, this helps us OTK. You just go into this by overlaying it on top of a Super Dreadnought Cannon Super Dora or a Gustav Max. Usually I overlay this on top of Gustav Max after I've done 2k damage to my opponent. It's really good to be able to just burn your opponent for 2k and then attack them with 6k, and it's really easy to do because you just make 2 shells on the field and then overlay them both together with Gustav Max, and then go for your opponent. Then we play 1 copy of Ravenous Tarantula for my last rank 10. For the difference between my life and my opponent's life points, all my monsters gain that much attack points, which is just really cool. And then I can detach material from it to destroy all monsters my opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card. Dark Lords are already big, but they get really big with Ravenous Tarantula, especially when I pay like 2,000 or 3,000 life points to activate my Dark Lord like spells and traps from Grave. They all gain a 3k boost, and if you summon something like, I don't know, you tribute summon something like what's his name? Morningstar, and then special summon a whole field of Dark Lords, and then you make this with it, it's like, yeah, it's over, man. But then we play 1 copy of Galaxy Eyes, Full Armor Photon to pop stuff, and then Cypher Dragon to take monsters off my opponent's side of the field, which is nice. 1 copy of Hope Harboring Dragon, Titanic Galaxy, just to negate spells. Divine Dragon Knight and Felgrand just to negate monster effects and to protect himself. He's just really good, and I had a Ghost Rare, and I was like, yeah, let's play it, and it's really good in the deck. 1 copy of Lancelot. Lancelot's good because he can attack your opponent directly while it has XYZ materials, and then when this card inflicts damage to your opponent, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it, which is nice because you can get stuff out of the way. And then once returned during your opponent's turn, you can, when spell trap or another monster effect is activated, detach material and negate the activation. I make this a lot, because it'll stop your opponent, and it's really good disruption, so it's a good card. 1 copy of Flare Metal just for the double Nastin. You want to be able to burn your opponent for like 500 every time they activate an effect, and depending on the deck, you can kind of judge how many effects they're going to do anyways if you know the ins and outs of decks like I do. 1 copy of Exciton Knight. It comes up every so often where I have like 2 Lunas on field, and I'll just be like, okay, I need to board wipe real quick, and then start special summoning. So I'll do that and make Exciton Knight, board wipe, and then the following turn I'll just go off because I'll have contact in hand and be able to go where I need to go. So then I play Boral Sword as well, because Boral Sword's easy to make in this deck. So is Boral Load, so I play both of them. Nightmare Unicorn just to bounce stuff, and then 1 copy of Wee Witch's Apprentice, because just about, like I said, everything's dark, and it's easy to summon Wee Witch, and just be able to gain all of my Dark Lords by 500. The only thing that you got to be careful of is don't summon Christia with this, because Christia is going to drop to 23, or 24, because it makes all light monsters lose 400 attack, which kind of sucks. But the main deck is pretty much dark, so it doesn't matter. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a really awesome deck. You guys should totally give it a try. It's pretty budget now because a lot of the stuff got reprinted in recent sets. I think it was Battles of Legend Light or Relentless Revenge. A shell got reprinted because before that, a shell was like 25 something-ish dollars, $25 to $30, and now she's like $2, which breaks my heart. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. Hit that bell so you can become part of the notification squad, and hit that big subscribe button in the center of your screen so you guys can become part of the notification squad as well. And I really, really appreciate it. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we're going to get there before you guys know it. So anyways, guys, this is Darkwing Duels, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.